Hey guys. Well, I think I can safely say that after 3 days of welding and cutting and grinding and cleaning and wire wheeling and welding and cutting and grinding and cleaning and wire wheeling and over again, I think the truck's ready for chassis saver. So let me show you what I did. So, did some cleanup on some miscellaneous parts, the loose stuff that's got to get painted. Pulled the radiator and core support and grill out. Got those painted up. Tow hook, that's pretty neat. Anyway, cleaned all that stuff up. Did a little bit of grinding on where I had some torch marks on the frame. One of the bigger tasks was I straightened the bed. It was sitting crooked. It still is ever so slightly, but it's within like a 1/4 inch now. So, but it was sitting over towards the passenger side. I think I tweaked it basically, trying to disassemble the truck with a skid steer, and so did some work with a chain binder and some heat and some loosening of. I think what the big difference was loosened up some of these bushings on the bushing keepers on the hoist. One of them had actually moved, so I think I pushed one over. I think there is a slight bend in the hinges too, ever so slight, but most of it was actually in those bushings. So once I loosened up all the bushings on the whole mechanism, and then pulled it over with a chain binder and then used a floor jack to put the bed up and down a couple times, it started coming down pretty straight. And then beyond that, I also, this guide plate for when the bed comes down that holds it in place, that was a little crooked on this side, so forcing that back straight helped guide it in straighter. You'll notice there's a pretty big gap now between the frame of the truck and the frame of the bed. There was steel in there that was laid, that was welded. It was 3/16 I think plate that was stitch welded all along. You can see where I ground off the welds. Some there, some there. See some sticking up. I'll throw some pictures in too, but it had heaved and had massive scale underneath where there were no welds, and so it was just like a roller coaster up and down the whole length of the frame. It was actually pushing the bed up in the air. That's why the bed wasn't coming down all the way, mostly because of right at the very back it had a really big, like I'm talking like a 1/2 inch heave in it. So anyway, got that stuff just gone. Yes, it's only resting on the front and the back now, but again, this isn't a truck that's going to see a load, so we're okay, and it looks a lot nicer. Other than that, did a whole lot of cleaning. With the hydraulic cylinders all wire wheeled and cleaned up. Had, I don't know, whatever that is, 53 years of dirt and grime on them. What else did we do? We put some etching primer on the bed. Cut a notch for an idea I have for a step in the future. Cleaned up the rest of the suspension bushings and the hoist bushings and all that. Did a little more straightening right here and on this marker light too. Welded on, I don't remember if that was in the last video or not, but welded on the brackets for the tail lights. And just little odds and ends all over the entire truck. Right now it's everything's blown off with the blowgun. So all the dust and debris and broken bolts and all that stuff is all gone. You can see I waited to sweep. You can see the pile of crap on my floor everywhere. Then the more exciting part that did get done was the silver single stage. So this was done yesterday, but got the wheel spacers, and then that portion there where it's a nasty finish is something you don't see. That's sandwiched against the rest of the core support, but actually turned out pretty good finish. I know there's some spots I missed, unfortunately. Would be what's bottom right now, but the top of the grill, I'm really bummed about that, but I'll figure out a way around it. Some sags on my bumper, but I'll live. Grill turned out awesome. Split everything all apart into pieces and painted individually. Ran out of paint, so only got one coat on the fuel tank, but it's got a nice thick coat of chassis saver underneath, so I think we'll survive. And then lastly, because I ran out of paint, I ended up using Rattle Can Duplicolor wheel paint that I had. Happened to have 3 cans sitting around, so all the wheels got masked off and painted with that. And it actually was almost a dead-on match for the other silver. Got some nice flake in it. So that's where it stands. So I'm going to sweep up tonight, get everything cleaned up in here and ready to, tomorrow my cleaning process is going to be, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but obviously there's no way I can wipe this whole frame down with wax and grease remover. So I'm going to put wax and grease remover in the gun and just spray the entire chassis. We'll see how it works. So that's the plan anyway. So we'll sweep it tonight so the dust is all down by morning, and then clean chassis and prep it for paint first thing. And then once everything's dried up and chassis saver's mixed, and it warms up a little bit later on in the day, we'll shoot 2 coats of chassis saver on. Pretty excited, can't wait.